All right, so let's dive into this United Airlines flight
Okay.
from Lagos to Washington
Yeah.
um, that had to make an emergency landing.
Sure.
You've probably seen it.
Definitely the
Yeah,
news.
the news snippets and everything.
Yeah.
But we're going deeper
Absolutely.
than that,
Yeah.
using the source material
Mm-hmm.
to really piece together
Okay.
not just what happened,
Yeah.
but what we can all learn from it.
Right. It's a case that really underscores how much we rely on things going right when we're miles above the ground.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just imagine you're on this long flight,
Mm-hmm.
probably somewhere over the Atlantic,
Right.
and suddenly
Yeah.
there's this massive jolt.
Yeah.
The source material
Mm-hmm.
has accounts from passengers
Yeah.
who were thrown from their seats, a loud bang,
Oh my gosh.
then a feeling of dropping.
Yeah.
It doesn't get much scarier than that.
And that's where the expertise of the flight crew becomes absolutely critical.
What?
In this case,
Yeah.
their quick thinking and training
Yeah.
likely prevented a much worse outcome,
Mm-hmm.
while 6 passengers were injured.
Right.
The fact that they managed a safe emergency landing
Right.
is a testament to their skills.
It makes you appreciate those pre-flight safety demonstrations a bit more, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Knowing there's a plan
Yeah.
for situations like this,
Yeah.
even if we hope we never need it.
Absolutely. And the source material actually dives into the emergency landing protocol,
Okay.
which is fascinating.
Yeah.
It's not just about putting the plane down safely. It's a whole coordinated effort
Right.
involving communication with air traffic control,
Right.
identifying the nearest suitable airport,
Okay.
and having emergency teams ready on the ground.
Okay, so let's talk about what might have caused this mid-air jolt in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
The source material mentions a few possibilities, right?
Yes. But it's crucial to remember that investigations are still ongoing.
Right.
We don't have a definitive answer. Okay.
And jumping to conclusions wouldn't be helpful.
Of course.
That said,
Yeah.
the potential factors listed
Okay.
are severe turbulence,
Okay.
loss of cabin pressure,
Mm-hmm.
and a failure of some kind in the safety equipment.
Those all sound pretty serious. I think most people have experienced a bit of turbulence, that bumpy feeling.
Yeah.
But what makes it severe?
It's a lot more than just a bumpy ride.
Okay.
We're talking about sudden and violent shifts in airflow
Mm-hmm.
that can actually cause damage to the aircraft itself.
Wow.
It's not always predictable either,
Right.
which makes it even more challenging for pilots to navigate.
So it's not just about the discomfort for passengers.
No.
It's a legitimate threat to the plane's structural integrity.
Yeah.
What about loss of cabin pressure?
Hmm.
I remember hearing about that in a movie once, and it didn't sound good.
It's definitely a serious situation.
Yeah.
Cabin pressure
Yeah.
is what keeps the air breathable inside the plane
Mm-hmm.
at high altitudes. Okay.
If that's lost,
Right.
you're looking at oxygen deprivation for everyone on board.
Wow.
Think confusion,
Mm-hmm.
disorientation.
Yeah.
In the worst cases, people can lose consciousness.
Oh, wow.
It requires immediate action to descend to a lower altitude.
And that brings us to the last possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Failure of safety equipment.
Right.
What sort of things would fall under that category?
It could be a wide range of things,
Okay.
from malfunctioning oxygen masks to faulty seatbelts.
Right.
Given that passengers were reportedly thrown from their seats in this incident,
Yeah.
investigators would be paying very close attention to the integrity of the restraint systems.
Yeah.
Were they working as designed?
Mm.
Were they properly secured by passengers?
Right.
These are the types of questions they'll be looking into.
It's like a giant puzzle, trying to piece together all these potential factors to figure out what happened.
Yeah,
So what happens now?
right.
How do they actually go about investigating an incident like this?
Well, it's a very thorough process. They'll be looking at the aircraft's maintenance records,
Okay.
the crew's training and experience,
Mhm.
weather conditions at the time of the incident,
Okay.
and air traffic control procedures.
Right.
No stone is left unturned.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
You want to have as much information as possible to figure out what went wrong and, more importantly, how to prevent it from happening again.
Exactly. And one of the key things that's mentioned in the source material
Hmm.
is that they're aiming for complete transparency with this investigation.
Right.
It's really important.
Yeah.
Not just for determining the cause of this particular incident,
Right.
but also for maintaining public confidence
Yeah.
in air travel as a whole.
Transparency builds trust. Right.
Absolutely.
Especially when it comes to something as important as safety.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the immediate aftermath
Okay.
of the emergency landing.
Mm-hmm.
What happened once the plane was safely on the ground?
Well, the focus shifted to taking care of the passengers.
Yeah.
especially the 6 who were injured.
Yeah, of course. During the jolt,
Right.
the source material describes a really well-coordinated effort
Okay.
between the flight crew and medical professionals on the ground.
Okay.
It seems like they had a system in place
Right.
for this exact kind of scenario.
That's reassuring to hear.
Yeah.
It's one thing to land the plane safely.
Yeah.
But it's another thing entirely to have a well-oiled machine ready to help everyone once you're on the ground.
Absolutely. And this preparedness speaks volumes
Yeah.
about the emphasis on emergency response in the aviation industry.
Mm-hmm.
The moment that jolt happened,
Yeah.
the crew had to be ready
Right.
for a whole chain of events,
Mm-hmm.
assessing the situation,
Right.
communicating with ground control,
Right.
preparing everyone for landing,
Mm-hmm.
and ensuring the safety and well-being of everyone on board.
I can only imagine how intense that must have been for everyone involved.
Definitely. And while we don't have specific details about the injuries,
The quick and organized medical response likely made a significant difference in minimizing further harm.
so it's a story with both scary and inspiring elements.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that even on a routine flight, things can go wrong unexpectedly.
Right.
But it's also a testament to the incredible skill and dedication
Mm-hmm.
of the people who are trained to handle these situations.
You've hit the nail on the head, and that's something we can all take comfort in.
Yeah.
While we can't control every aspect of air travel,
Right.
there are highly trained professionals
Yeah.
working hard to mitigate risks and ensure our safety in the skies.
That's a good thought to hold on to. But let's shift gears a bit
Okay.
and talk about this specific United Airlines route
Mm-hmm.
from Lagos to Washington.
Yeah.
What kind of journey are we talking about here?
Well, it's a long-haul flight
Okay.
covering over 5,700 miles
Wow.
and typically taking about 12 hours.
Okay.
The usual flight path
Mhm.
takes the aircraft over the Atlantic Ocean, which means it's passing through multiple air traffic control zones.
Wow. That's a significant amount of time in the air.
Yeah.
It really highlights the importance of not only having a skilled and experienced crew,
Mm-hmm.
but also a reliable aircraft.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about the planes typically used for a route like this?
United Airlines usually uses either a Boeing 777
Okay.
or 787
Okay.
for these kinds of long-haul flights. Both aircraft have
Yeah.
excellent safety records
Okay.
and are equipped with some of the most advanced safety features available, including multiple engines and redundant systems.
Redundant systems, that sounds reassuring when you're talking about spending 12 hours over the Atlantic.
It is. Redundancy basically means that if one system fails,
Right.
there's a backup ready to take over.
Okay.
It's a core principle of aviation safety,
Right.
ensuring that there's always a plan B.
And what about the maintenance of these aircraft? With all those miles they rack up, I imagine they require a pretty rigorous upkeep schedule.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
United Airlines has a very strict aircraft maintenance program
Okay.
that involves regular checks and inspections before each flight.
Yeah.
The maintenance team does a thorough walkthrough
Hi.
to make sure the engines,
Right.
fuel systems,
Yes.
and all the other critical components are in top condition.
So it's not just about having well-designed aircraft.
No.
It's about maintaining them meticulously throughout their lifespan.
Exactly. And that brings us back to a key aspect of aviation safety we touched on earlier,
Okay.
the emergency landing protocol.
Right?
Remember, even with all the precautions in place, unexpected things can and do happen, like the mid-air jolt we've been discussing.
Right. And that's when having a clear and effective emergency plan
Yeah.
becomes absolutely critical.
Yeah.
What exactly does that involve?
It's a multifaceted approach
Yeah.
that hinges on seamless communication
Right.
between the flight crew, air traffic control, and emergency teams on the ground.
Oh, yeah.
The protocol outlines specific steps to be taken
Right.
in various emergency scenarios, from engine failure
Right.
to sudden depressurization.
So it's not just about reacting to a crisis.
No.
It's about having predetermined procedures in place
Right.
to guide the response.
Yeah,
That must make a huge difference in managing such a stressful situation.
absolutely. It brings structure and clarity
Yeah.
to what could otherwise be a chaotic situation. The source highlights a few key components of this protocol.
Okay.
First, establishing clear communication channels
Right.
between all parties involved.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
You need everyone on the same page. What else?
Second, quickly identifying the nearest available airport
Okay.
and the most suitable landing route.
Hmm.
Time is of the essence in these situations.
And third.
Preparing ground emergency responders,
Right.
including medical teams,
Mhm.
firefighters,
Right.
and emergency management personnel. Having these teams ready to assist upon landing is crucial.
It sounds incredibly well coordinated with every element working in sync to ensure the best possible outcome.
That's the goal, and while this specific incident is still under investigation,
Yeah.
the fact that the crews successfully executed an emergency landing
Right.
suggests that the protocol functioned as intended.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
The incident itself,
Yeah.
the emergency response,
Right.
the possible causes,
Yeah.
the aircraft and its maintenance, and the emergency landing protocol.
Right.
But what about the investigation?
Okay.
What happens next?
The official response has been swift,
Okay.
with regulatory bodies launching a detailed investigation
Okay.
into the factors that led to the emergency landing.
Right.
They're going to be looking at everything we've discussed, the aircraft's maintenance records,
Okay.
the crew's training and experience,
Right.
the weather conditions at the time of the incident, and of course, the passenger safety and emergency response protocols.
It sounds incredibly thorough. What's the ultimate goal of this investigation?
The aim is to be both thorough and transparent.
Hmm.
They want to get to the bottom of what happened,
Right.
identify any systemic issues that may have contributed to the incident, and make recommendations to prevent similar events from occurring in the future.
So it's not about placing blame.
No.
It's about learning from this experience and improving aviation safety as a whole.
Exactly. The investigation follows international aviation standards and regulations,
Okay.
involving collaboration with various authorities and experts.
And will the public be kept informed about the findings?
Yes, the authorities have committed to providing updates as the investigation progresses.
Okay.
They recognize the importance of transparency in maintaining public confidence in air travel.
That's good to hear. Transparency is crucial, especially when we're dealing with something as important as aviation safety. But while we wait for the results of the investigation, I'm curious about the broader implications of this incident. What can we as passengers learn from this experience?
That's a great question, and I think one of the most important takeaways
Yeah.
is that even in an industry as highly regulated and safety conscious as aviation, unforeseen events can and do occur.
So it's a reminder that there's always an element of risk involved in flying,
Yeah,
no matter how advanced the technology or how skilled the professionals.
precisely, but it's also a testament to
Yeah.
the incredible resilience and adaptability of the aviation industry, despite facing a sudden and potentially dangerous situation.
Right.
The crew of this United Airlines flight acted swiftly and decisively,
Right.
relying on their training and the established safety protocols to bring the aircraft and its passengers safely to the ground.
And that's a powerful message, isn't it? It reminds us that even in the face of adversity, there are skilled individuals working tirelessly to ensure our safety.
Absolutely, and it underscores the importance of continuous improvement in aviation safety. By learning from incidents like this,
Right.
we can identify areas for enhancement, refine procedures, and ultimately make flying even safer in the years to come.
So while this incident might understandably raise concerns for some passengers,
Yeah.
it also serves as a powerful reminder of the dedication and expertise of those who work to keep us safe in the skies.
Well said, and it reinforces the importance of ongoing research development and collaboration within the aviation industry
Right.
to ensure that air travel remains a safe and reliable mode of transportation for millions of people around the world.
This has been a fascinating look at what happened, but I think there's even more to unpack here. We'll be right back after a quick break.
Okay. And it's that commitment to continuous improvement that's so crucial, this incident. No matter what the root cause turns out to be, offers a valuable learning opportunity for the entire aviation industry.
So you're saying it's bigger than
Yeah.
just United Airlines
Right.
addressing a specific problem.
Yeah,
It's about using this as a case study
exactly.
to make flying safer across the board.
That's exactly right. It's about sharing best practices,
Okay.
analyzing data, and constantly looking for ways to enhance safety protocols
Right.
throughout the industry.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
If one airline uncovers a potential weakness,
Right.
it's in everyone's best interest to learn from it
Exactly.
and make improvements.
Yeah.
It's like a collective effort
It
to
is.
make flying as safe as humanly possible.
Exactly. And that collective effort involves not only the airlines, but also regulatory bodies,
Okay.
aircraft manufacturers,
Right.
research institutions.
Yeah.
It's a whole ecosystem
Right.
working together to minimize risks and protect passengers.
Okay, so we've established that this incident
Yeah.
has broad implications for the future of air travel safety. But what about us,
Yeah.
the passengers?
Right.
Is there anything we can do
Yeah, that's a great question.
to stay informed
Absolutely.
and maybe even contribute to this ongoing improvement?
First and foremost, I encourage everyone to stay informed about aviation safety developments.
Okay.
Follow reputable news sources, read industry reports,
Okay.
and pay attention to updates from organizations like the FAA.
So don't just tune out
Exactly.
those pre-flight safety demonstrations.
Definitely not. Those briefings may seem routine,
Right.
but they actually contain vital information
Yeah.
that could be crucial in an emergency. Pay attention. Familiarize yourself with the safety features of the aircraft.
Yeah.
And don't hesitate to ask the crew any questions you have.
Right. Knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
Especially when it comes to safety.
It is.
Anything else we can do?
Absolutely. Be proactive about reporting any safety concerns you might observe during your travels.
Yeah.
If you notice anything that seems off, a damaged seatbelt,
Yeah.
a malfunctioning overhead bin,
Okay.
anything that raises a red flag,
Right.
report it to the crew immediately.
So don't be shy about speaking up if something doesn't seem right.
Exactly. Your observations could be really valuable
Okay.
in identifying potential problems and preventing future incidents.
Right.
Remember, safety is a shared responsibility.
And I imagine just being a mindful,
Oh, absolutely.
respectful passenger
Yeah.
contributes to a safer environment overall.
You're absolutely right. Following crew instructions, treating fellow passengers with courtesy,
Right.
and generally fostering a calm and cooperative atmosphere on board
Yeah.
can make a big difference.
It's that sense of shared responsibility again.
It is.
We all have a part to play in making air travel as safe and enjoyable as possible.
Exactly, by staying informed, being proactive,
Right.
and acting responsibly,
Yeah.
we can all contribute to the ongoing quest for safer skies.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground here, from the heart-stopping details of this incident to the bigger picture of aviation safety and what we as passengers can do. But I want to circle back to the investigation for a moment.
Right.
What are the specific areas they'll be focusing on as they try to figure out exactly what happened on that United Airlines flight?
The investigation is going to be very comprehensive. Drawing on expertise from several different fields, they'll be meticulously examining the aircraft's maintenance records, looking for any indication of pre-existing issues that might have contributed to the incident.
So it's almost like a forensic investigation of the plane itself. What else will they be looking at?
They'll also be scrutinizing the crew's training and experience,
Okay.
evaluating their actions leading up to, during, and after that mid-air jolt. This will involve reviewing things like flight data, cockpit voice recordings, and interviewing the pilots and crew members.
It's not just about what they did, but why they made those decisions under pressure.
Exactly. And, of course, they'll be taking a very close look at the weather conditions and air traffic control procedures at the time of the incident.
Okay.
Was there any unusual weather activity that could have contributed to the jolt?
Right.
Were there any communication issues or procedural errors that might have played a role?
They're basically trying to recreate the entire context surrounding the event
Yeah.
to see if any external factors might have been involved.
Precisely, and they'll be carefully analyzing the passenger safety and emergency response protocols as well.
Right.
Did the emergency equipment function as intended?
Okay.
Was the crew adequately prepared to handle the situation? Were the ground emergency responders effectively coordinated and deployed?
So it's about understanding not just what happened,
Yeah.
but also how effectively the systems in place
Right.
responded to the crisis.
You got it by meticulously examining all these elements. The investigators are hoping to create a complete picture of what led to this emergency landing.
Right.
Identify any contributing factors, and ultimately make recommendations for how to prevent similar events from happening in the future.
It's a huge responsibility,
It is.
but incredibly important work.
It absolutely is. And while the investigation might take some time to complete,
Right.
it's an essential step in maintaining and enhancing aviation safety
Yeah.
for everyone.
Hmm.
By learning from this incident, we can all work together to make air travel even safer and more reliable.
This incident, while concerning, also reminds us of just how complex and interconnected the world of aviation is. We'll be back after a short break to explore some of the larger implications and what this means for the future of flying.
Okay.
It really highlights how complex air travel is,
It
right?
does.
There are so many systems working together,
Yeah.
so many people involved to make sure that we have a safe journey.
It's a symphony of engineering technology, human expertise, and coordinated effort. And this incident really brings that into focus.
Like a giant puzzle where every piece has to fit perfectly for things to work smoothly.
That's a great analogy. And while we wait for the official findings of the investigation, I think it's worth reflecting on the broader significance of this event.
Okay.
It serves as a powerful reminder that even with all the advancements we've made in technology and safety procedures,
Right.
there's always an element of uncertainty when it comes to air travel.
So you're saying that no matter how advanced our systems become
Right.
or how skilled the professionals are, we can never completely eliminate risk.
Exactly. We're dealing with complex machines operating in a dynamic environment. There are countless variables at play.
Right.
And even seemingly small deviations can sometimes have cascading effects.
It's a bit humbling, isn't it?
It is.
A reminder that we're not always in complete control, even when we're soaring tens of thousands of feet above the ground.
It is. And that's precisely why it's so crucial. Yeah. To have robust safety systems in place,
Right.
from the initial design and ongoing maintenance of the aircraft to the rigorous training of the crew and the development of comprehensive emergency protocols. It's about minimizing those risks and being prepared to respond effectively when the unexpected happens.
It sounds like a multi-layered approach to safety, with each layer providing an additional level of protection.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And this incident really underscores the importance of constantly evaluating and improving those layers,
Right.
learning from each experience and striving for continuous improvement.
So it's not about achieving perfection,
Right.
but about relentlessly pursuing it.
Well said. And that pursuit involves collaboration
It's not
across
just
the entire aviation ecosystem.
Okay.
Airlines, manufacturers, regulators, researchers, and even passengers. We all have a role to play in making air travel as safe as it can be.
It's that idea of shared responsibility again.
It is.
They're all in this together.
Absolutely. And by working together, sharing knowledge, and embracing a culture of continuous improvement, we can ensure that air travel remains a safe, efficient, and enjoyable mode of transportation for millions of people around the world.
This deep dive into the United Airlines incident has been incredibly insightful.
It has.
We've explored the pretty dramatic details of what happened, the potential causes, the complexities of emergency response, and the far-reaching implications for aviation safety. It's given us a lot to think about.
I agree, and I hope our listener has gained a new appreciation for the incredible effort that goes into keeping us safe while we're in the air.
Absolutely. But before we wrap things up, I want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay.
Knowing what we do now about this incident and all this information we've gone over,
Yeah.
what questions would you want investigators to focus on to ensure something like this doesn't happen again?
Right.
What areas would you want them to explore further? It's something to ponder as we await the results of the investigation and continue to learn more about the world of aviation safety.
Absolutely.